your journey with what you're doing and what God has planned for you. Hello, everyone. Today is Intentional Tuesday. I'm your host, Penny Owens, and those who have never been here before, let me tell you what we're all about. This is where professionals come every week to refresh their spirits and set their intentions. We don't wait just once a year. We're trying to make sure that this is done intentionally, regularly, and consistently. So today's topic is forgive yourself. Sounds real simple, but once we get down to the nitty-gritty, you'll kind of see that it's not as simple as we think. So just let me check everything, make sure everything's going properly, because you never know. All right. So I hope your week has been not as eventful or stressful. There's a lot going on, and I know that that's asking for a lot. I know it's asking for a whole lot, but it is important that you still try to keep it that way, because that's the goal, right? To not be so stressful and to not be worried about what's happening around us, to be focused, to be intentional, and to protect your peace. So that's what we're going to make sure that we do today. So like I said, today's show is to forgive yourself. A lot of times we think about forgiveness and it kind of puts a little bit of a hold in your throat, a chokehold around your heart a little bit, because you start thinking about what others have done to you and why you shouldn't forgive them. No, I don't want to be bothered. They should have did that. They crossed me. I'm going to never, ever forgive them. That's where we usually go. You start thinking about all the reasons of why you shouldn't. But I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of reasons why you should. But forget about everyone else, okay? Right now, it's not about them. It's about you. When we think about others, that's something that we cannot control. We can't control what they think, what they do, what they believe in. That part, we can't do anything about it. We can try to influence it all we want to. We can try to help navigate or support, but that's not ours. Okay, so hands off the table. There's too many men on the field. I'm just saying that is not ours. The only person that you can control is you. Now, when it comes to forgiveness, a lot of times you just kind of shrug things off like it's not that bad, it's not that serious. We give ourselves a lot of different excuses, or we do the other extreme where we beat ourselves up. I should have did more. I didn't do everything I was supposed to do. I missed this step. I can't believe I let this happen. I should have known better. We beat ourselves up like we don't deserve grace as well. Now, it's one thing when you're not going to forgive somebody else, and it's another thing when you're not going to forgive yourself. I mean, really, that just makes a lot of turmoil and chaos for yourself and the people around you. Because remember, everything that's dealing with you is not only dealing with you. So you have to be mindful. What are you constantly beating yourself up about? Even if it's something small, because that's kind of where the problem lies. We tell ourselves that it's not that serious, that it's just something simple, it's all going to be okay. Little things add up. They add up, okay? So stop giving yourself the excuse that it's not that important or it's not that serious. If it caused some type of an emotion in you, whether it was negative, whether it was positive, just whether you stalled, anxiety, just, you felt it and you didn't take time to recognize what it was, there's something there. There's something worth analyzing, and you should see it. We're so quick to not want to feel, to not want to be held accountable, even to ourselves. We just push it over. We just try to ignore it. Stop doing that. So I'm letting you know that those moments, that if anything in that moment triggered or stimulated something in you, it was trying to get your attention. God was trying to use it to get your attention, to say something to you, to clarify some things, to get something accomplished. And because you ignored it, you missed it. It's more likely to repeat itself because you didn't take advantage of the moment because you allowed it to pass. That's something that you probably could acknowledge for yourself. Like, let me stop doing that. If there's something I'm supposed to be paying attention to, I want to make sure that I get it. I don't want anything hidden from me. I don't want things to miss opportunities for myself with myself. You want to make sure that you know who you are. You want to know who you are right now, and you want to make sure that you reach all the goals that you're trying to reach. Why miss that? The only person in your way is you. But there are things that have happened to you. There are things that have been said to you, and you didn't quite understand that it was going to have a lasting impact, that this was going to be something that was going to become a pivotal moment in your life forever. No matter how small you thought it was, no matter how old you thought it was, oh, that's old now, that's fine. You didn't know it was going to change your life, and you definitely didn't know it was going to stick with you. Now, let me give you the disclaimer. This may trigger some things that you may not want to think about. Some stuff that may have been so old and in the back of your mind, you just want to leave it there. No. We're going to get the broom. We're going to put on some gloves. Okay, we're going to grab some gloves. We're going to put on our goggles, and we're just going to make sure that we go dig into those deep closets, and we're going to go get that. Because what you don't understand is everything that you have not dealt with is still sitting there, homie. It's just waiting for your attention, or it's waiting to be an obstacle. Don't think just because you left it in the closet of your mind that you don't want to deal with it, that it's not waiting for you to be dealt with. Or like I said, to be an obstacle for you. So go ahead, let's put these gloves on. All right, we're going to go ahead and get all comfortable because we're about to deal with it. Now, whatever pops in your mind, just really right now, whatever pops in your mind as a memory or something you just easily know, I have not dealt with it. I just haven't dealt with it. And either I don't want to, maybe I'm afraid to, or maybe I just don't recognize the fact that I need to. Whatever it is, we're about to get into it. All right. So, and you don't have to say it out loud. That is your business. It's no one else's. I'm not there. I can't prove it. No one else can. You can leave it in your mind. You don't have to even say it out loud. But you know what I'm talking about. Whatever lies underneath that pretty face, that handsome smile, you know what I'm talking about. There are things that you have not dealt with. Maybe it's not a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe it's just a situation. But whatever comes to your mind right now in this particular moment, we're going to make sure that we deal with. So whatever the situation is on your mind, the first thing that I want to say to you, it's not your fault. Yeah, that sounds cliche. That sounds real simple. It sounds real immature even. But I am saying to you, from my mouth to your ears, it's not your fault. Yeah, there may have been some signs, some flags or things you could have paid attention to. Maybe there were some things that you could have stood up for yourself and talked about, discussed it with someone else. Like maybe there was some help that you could have asked for. I get it. But it's not your fault. You did the best that you could do with what you knew at that time. You could have been 3, 7, 16, 25, 53. Whatever your age is, doesn't matter. Because you did the best that you could. You were probably in survival mode. If you don't want to deal with something, it's because you're trying to protect your peace. You're trying not to end up in jail a lot of times. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to disclose information that you're not ready to disclose, whatever your reason is. But there was a reason. You didn't want to get into it. You didn't want to deal with it, or that you chose to protect yourself. That's a valid reason. Whatever the details are. Like I said, you don't have to share, but it was a real reason. So you made your decision. You handled it the best that you could. Whether you chose to fight, flight, or go dormant. Whatever your decision was, you chose it for a reason. And you sorted through your mind in whatever couple seconds or minutes that you had, and you just picked one. With the best knowledge that you possibly had, you picked one. And you dealt with it. And whatever the outcome was, after that decision is what it was. You couldn't predict what was going to happen. All you could do was have your pre-assumed thoughts. It might go this way, or this may happen. Well, I don't want this to happen. And you made a decision based on the knowledge and the experience that you had already had. If you're used to a lot of different trauma and just drama in your house or chaos, in your environment, you're going to assume a situation may happen from that experience. If you're used to people not paying attention or ignoring and not really listening to you, you're going to base your experience and options off of that. But just whatever knowledge that you had in that moment, you made a decision with what you knew. You can't control other people. You can't control how they react, what they do with the information, what they did with the decision that you made. Their response, that wasn't on you. Whether they did something negative to you, whether they crossed your paths with you and they just disrespected you, whether they ignored you, whether they only gave you just a little bit of appreciation, but not the appreciation that you deserved, whatever that was, whatever it was, you could not predict how that was going to go down. Nor did you realize what that decision was going to do to the people around you. When we make decisions, we never ever think that there's going to be a domino effect, that there's ripples being caused by what that decision is, especially in situations where you're just trying to protect yourself. When you're just trying to have a good mood and get on about your day, you're trying not to slap nobody, you're trying not to just be depressed, you're already upset. When you're in stressful situations and you are forced into a decision, you're just trying to survive and you're just trying to make it through. So forgive yourself for that alone. I'm just trying to do my best. I'm trying to avoid certain things. I'm trying not to cause more pain or cause more trouble for myself or anybody else that I can't immediately think about. But there's no way that you know in any decision what the outcome's going to be. You can't see that. Even when you think that you do, you can't see the extent of it. Let's say that you're special and you got, premonitions, or you can kind of see into the future when it comes to, well, I definitely know that if I handle this way, for the people immediately connected, I know how it's going to go down. Like I know how it's going to go down. That's fine. But you still are not aware, because it's impossible to be, of what and who else that situation and that decision affects. You can say something just simple like, let me think about just something simple. No almost hitting someone's car. Like you are in the house, you're rushing out to get to wherever you're supposed to be. You didn't leave out on time. Now you're rushing. Now you're okay. You're just a little distracted because you're trying to hurry up and catch up mentally for where you're supposed to be. You're beating yourself up. You're thinking about what you could have did. What else do I need to do? It's like your mind is just all over the place because you're trying to make it make sense. You're trying to hurry up, make up for the time. And then you get out, you swerve a little bit. Not intentionally, not on purpose, just merely because your mind is somewhere else. You're just not paying attention, but you swerve. Okay? Your car almost hits somebody else. You scare them. They're afraid. Now their mood is being affected. You don't know. And in that moment, you're like, whatever. So you flip them off. You're just kind of like, deal with it. I said, man, my bad. It was an accident. Deal with it. Poor choice, right? Poor decision. You feel a certain ways, but you're going to get your authority back. You're going to get some power. But like, I'm not about to let you bother me. I need to get where I need to be, deal with it. All right, it's simple. But it's not the best decision. You think that you are trying to preserve your peace by not letting anyone else affect it. Yes, it's a butthole move. It is, right? You don't have to act like that. You were in the wrong. But even in that decision, it was a genuine mistake. Because you weren't focused. You're in your head. It's a genuine mistake. You're in your head. So you swerved into the lane. But then you chose to get your power back by not admitting that you were wrong. We do that kind of stuff all the time. But in that moment, you are making decisions because you're trying to protect yourself. You're already stressed out with whatever kept you distracted or why you left out or the consequences of being late. already. Your mind is genuinely somewhere else. It had nothing to do with the person that you almost hit. Nothing to do with them. You just were not paying attention. So these line of decisions are affecting others. And then on the flip side, right? So you don't want to be bothered by homie because you were wrong and now they're upset. They're honking the horn, they're rolling their eyes at you. And then guess what? In the moment that they're looking at you, trying to drive past and give you that stern look, they almost hit the car in front of them. Just a second. That one moment tripled over into not only the person that you directly affected, but now their decision, also kind of a bad choice, being petty, is about to cause a third person that has no clue about the chaos that you got on behind them. They're about to get hit. Now that's a negative example of just the one decision. It goes over, it bleeds over, it affects other people. And it was based on something simple. It was not something you did on purpose. It was a line of events that affected another line of events. And the decisions that you're making on how you handle them are just not the best. They're not the best. How could you have handled that so that it had a better effect? One, let's not even change that leaving out and rushing. That's just what you're doing, right? Think about that moment. What else can I do tomorrow to make sure that I don't have to rush out? Okay, you accept it. I wasn't prepared. Accept it. That's it. Leave it in the house. Then you get on the road responsibly. Acceptance helps us to avoid a lot of different things. I'm late. Accept it. I'm already late. I'm late. Okay, just be honest about it. I'm late. That's fine. But now, don't rush. Don't be full of anxiety. Don't try to figure out what you're going to tell your boss or whoever you're supposed to meet. Like, don't start thinking. Be focused, because in this moment, you are a weapon. You're a car on the road, and there's other people there. So be responsible. So be focused. Be present, right? So leave it in the moment. I'm late. Accept it. Now be responsible. Make a new decision in this moment. I'm going to make sure I show up for myself and keep myself safe and other people. When I get there is when I get there. Of course, I hope that it doesn't take a long time, but I'm already behind. Just accept it. So now your maneuvers, guess what? You're not thinking about it. You're not stressed. You're not trying to figure out some lie or something. You know what I'm saying? Your mind is where it needs to be. So now you're driving appropriately. And then guess what? Homie number B and homie number C, they don't even, nothing of that happens. At least not on your accord. It doesn't happen because you accept it and you chose to make a decision for yourself. Okay, I could have done better in some areas and I'm going to work on it. Guess what? That's how repenting works. Acknowledgement of what's going on, making a sincere plan to do better, and then you forgive yourself. Like, okay, I'm not about to beat myself up about it. All right, my bad. All right, I'm good. I'm good though. I still have to move forward. I still have other things to take care of. I'm not about to stay in this moment. Bad, good. I'm gonna keep going. That's it. But we don't do that regularly. Those small moments turn into big issues in our life. This one moment and the way that you handled it, the way you affected someone else, can easily turn into a constant stage of rage. Now, every time you late, you got an attitude because you assume that something stupid is going to happen. Like you're preparing for fights that may not even come up, but you're ready for war. You're ready for some type of excuse. You already know what's going on. You have this fight or flight thing going on with you, and you are already in it. And it's not even happening. It's not even happening to you. But we do this all the time. As people, we just want to make it make sense. We want to feel safe. And we just naturally are our worst critics. Now I'm going to go back. So the moment that came into your mind that you know you have not forgiven other people about, and you know that it has affected you truly, like this is something that you don't want to think about regularly. You'd rather not talk about it. Your hope is not disclosed, whatever that is. Like I said, you don't have to say it out loud. But whatever that situation is that comes to your mind, I already told you it wasn't your fault. You did the best that you could with what you knew at that moment. So now we've acknowledged it because that's what it is. It's acknowledgement. It's allowing yourself to go back into the moment versus trying to keep it back there for the rest of your life. Let's get rid of it. Let's heal from it. Ain't no sense of holding on to nothing. You don't want anything keeping these blessings coming your way. You don't want anything being used to be a trigger, an obstacle. You deserve to have the best life. So let's go get it. Let's go get it. So let's get it. Okay, so we're going to acknowledge this moment. Okay, I see you. I've had you in the back and I didn't want to, but I'm going to choose to look. I'm going to choose to acknowledge whatever that moment is. So as it's replaying into your mind, I know it's uncomfortable. I know there's details that's probably coming up that you just would rather not sit in. And I'm going to apologize. Well, hopefully you're not necessarily just watching this if you're in the car, but if you're at work, you're not supposed to be watching anyway, but I'm glad you came by. But just whatever's playing, let it roll like a film strip, okay? We're going to go do a rerun. Let it replay in your mind. And then you ask yourself, whose perspective am I looking at? Am I looking at this situation objectively? Am I looking everywhere in the situation, or am I just thinking about how I'm feeling, what is happening to me? We tend to be one-sided in our memories. And I'm telling you, a lot of times we miss important details. We don't even take the time to think about the other parties involved in that memory. We just say, well, that's my memory. That's it. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. No, there were several players in there. There were several players a part of that memory. It didn't just happen to you. It seems like it only happened to you, but it's not. That's not actually true. There's something going on to the other people or persons or in that environment as it's happening as well. So just if you're not somewhere where you can do this right now, that's what replays are for, okay? Get somewhere comfortable first. Make sure that you don't have to show up for yourself and you got a meeting in a couple minutes or you need to be smiling a few minutes. No, we're going to those things we're going to that dark place into your mind. So you can always just listen to it or push pause and come back and watch when you are sitting somewhere where you can actually tackle this. Because we're going to make sure we get her done. We're going to get her done. We're going to clean out all the cobwebs, okay? Nothing is going to stop you from being the best you. Not now. Not no more. Not 2025 and moving forward. So replay it in your mind and figure out whose perspective are you looking at. Most times it's just you. Well, this is what they said to me and this is what they did to me. I was trapped. I couldn't. I did my best, but they didn't. I am me. Start looking at the other people attached to it and involved. Who are they? Who is that person or persons? Think about, where did it happen? Where were you when this particular situation played out? Home, outside, in the office, at a family member's house? Because I don't know only you know when in history this actually happened, but go back to it. Now, this part is difficult because, again, you have to get out of yourself long enough to see others. You can't fully see a whole situation until you can see the whole situation. If you're only looking at it with like me, and I, you can't see it. Now, of course, once you start looking at the other people involved, what are they doing? What do you think they're thinking about? What were they doing before the situation? What do you think they did afterwards? Let your mind kind of go into these different scenarios. Try to pull up the memories of what you observed, how they handle it in those different scenarios. I invite you to do that because you're going to have a different memory. You're going to create a different memory now because you're going to be able to see, well, I know what I did. I know how I handled the situation, but I actually don't quite remember what else was going on. Let me think. Think about what happened, what was going on before the situation. Think about what was happening afterwards. Just let them replay into your mind so that you can get instead of an acute memory, you want to stretch it out. You want to stretch it out just so you can see more of what had transpired, how quickly it lasted, or how long it lasted. But you need to have those details because you need to be able to talk to yourself and really try to figure out, what does this mean for me? What all do I need to examine inside this moment so that I can be properly healed? You have to forgive others for their part because guess what? They're doing the same thing you're doing, the best with what they can in that moment. Let's say that their life is chaotic and they don't have a bunch of knowledge and they were just acting really ignorant in that moment. And that was all they got. That was the best that they had. If ignorance was bliss, then they was full of it. That's what they did. It wasn't necessarily personal to you. That was the best they had at that moment. That they might be a different person now. You don't know. You don't know how that's going to transpire. But whatever the situation is, you do have to acknowledge others in it and you do have to forgive them for their parts. But back to you, because this is about you. Like I said, you can't control everyone else and how they respond. But just look at that situation deep, the before, the during, and the after. What was going through your mind and all those different parts of this situation? Allow the memory to replay. You're only going to get in very deep healing if you get those cobwebs out and you let that dark moments come to your mind, because you have to deal with it. You have to ask yourself, okay, what else is this affecting moving forward? And you want to ask yourself, because too often when we go through something that's disappointing or traumatic, it sticks and it becomes a trigger. It becomes a negative stimulant. And I'm telling you, we just deal with it for the rest of our lives because it just hurt, or we just really don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to help you figure that out. Ask yourself, with however you chose to deal with that situation, whether you fight, flight, whether you went dormant, however you chose to go through the situation, do you still do that? Ask yourself, do I still handle my situations that way? It's yes or no. Just think about that moment. I know it's uncomfortable, but do you still handle similar situations or moments of decision that same way? And let's say you want to forgive yourself for that. You chose to continue that pattern because let's say that you make it through. When we go through traumatic situations and negative situations and huge disappointments, however we chose to get through, guess what? When you make it to the other side, then you automatically, it's not even you choosing it, but automatically your mind remembers that as a coping mechanism and something successful. I made it through. I can keep this one for the bank because it worked. I made it out the situation. I got through. However you chose to do it. And then you chose to keep it. It wasn't a choice though. Your mind just put it in the file cabinet as successful. I lived through that moment. I got through another day. I got another chance, an obstacle, whatever it is. Your mind, when it filed it away. So forgive yourself that you truly did not have a choice with why this became a cycle. There was nothing you could do with it. Your brain filed it away for you. So when you were stimulated or triggered again by anything similar to that situation, your brain naturally went to the file cabinet and grabbed it out. Well, I know this works. It worked last time. Last time I kept my mouth quiet and I had a better day. It just pulled it out. Let's be quiet. I fought. I got myself out that situation. Let's pull it out the cabinet. I made sure I took note and I didn't deal with them no more. I'm not going to ever let that happen to me again. It pulled it out the cabinet. You didn't have a choice the first time. And it was an automatic response the second, third, fourth, and fifth time. It's not even your choice. So forgive yourself because your brain just did what it was supposed to do and it didn't even include you. You didn't know what it was attached to. You had no clue that the stimulation from that old situation you wanted to forget about was messing with your today. Years later, months and weeks later, you didn't know that. You didn't put the two together. You put that away, remember? You don't want to talk about that. It's still here to be an obstacle though. And you didn't know. So when you are stimulated and triggered and you just don't understand, it's coming from somewhere. It's coming from something. And almost 100% of the time, you're just doing the best that you can and you did not know. And you definitely didn't know that it was going to continue to be an issue. Do this regularly with all your thoughts. Every time you get triggered with something, negative and positive. If it's exciting, why is this exciting? What is it in this situation that just makes me smile, that brings me joy? I'm not trying to traumatize you guys on this Tuesday. It's not Traumatization Tuesday. It's Intentional Tuesday. We are trying to make sure that we intentionally heal so that we can be the best selves. So we can get all the blessings that we're supposed to get, and we can be the blessings to all the people that we are supposed to reach. So I'm not trying to traumatize you. There's positive things and memories you should look back at too. Why does this stick to me? Because guess what? On the positive side of things, we will mimic or try to recreate moments that just stick with our hearts, especially when it comes to loved ones and family members, people of inspiration to you. You will try to do exactly what they did. You loved them. You really liked how they handled their business, the way that they moved through life. It was inspiring and it was motivational. I want to do that. And guess what? You try. You do. And again, our decisions, you are not aware of how that decision affects other people around you. So let's say that you're trying to be your best impersonation of somebody you really care about, somebody you really are inspired by. But is that who you are? You have to ask yourself that. Because I've definitely seen where we can be doing positive things in our lives, okay? You can have goals and motivation and a good role model. I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this. But if it just is not in alignment with who you are and your purpose in life, you're just creating a less messy mess for yourself. You can say yes to everything and be the best giver because grandma used to do that, right? She supplied for the whole neighborhood. She just did everything. She never said no. So now you are never saying no. I'm going to be the best. And that's what I like. I loved it. But then you notice that your life is full of obligations. You have so many different heartstrings that you voluntarily gave to everybody because you didn't say no. And now your peace is thin. Now your time is thin. You're spread out through so many different people and projects because you didn't know how to say no. Forgive yourself. You were doing the best that you could. You looked up to somebody, you made a decision. That's how I want to be. This is who I want to be. I want to do these things. I want to be that person. You made a decision, a declaration for yourself, whether you was 3, 7, 18, 25, 53, at whatever age, you made a decision that you thought, this is going to inspire me and keep me focused. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. You had no clue of how that decision was going to affect you and the people around you moving forward. You didn't know. When there's positive things, it's really hard for us to acknowledge that this may also be causing a problem for us. You don't think that. Those happy memories, we love recalling happy memories. We do. And we hold on to them with both hands. Why do you think that playbacks and music has such a hold on us? It takes us back to a memory that we need in a sense. But forgive yourself because you made a decision off of what you knew in that moment. And I say that because you might be thinking, I'm a little crazy. What's wrong with a good memory? I understand about traumatic ones, but why are you saying forgive myself for the good memories? This is why. If it's not in alignment for you, then it's not yours. Even if it's positive, there is a thing of doing too much of a good thing is bad. Okay? And this is what I mean about that. So you're trying to mimic grandma's ways and say yes to everything and provide for everyone. Someone's probably getting neglected. because you cannot say yes to everyone outside of the house and still say yes to everyone inside of your house. You can't put 100% of you and your attention into each individual project because you have it spread out so thin. So something's getting neglected, something's imbalanced, and guess what? It's just because you're trying to be the best at everything and you're mimicking something else that wasn't yours. It's positive, yes. It's happy and it's a good thing. It's too much. It's not yours. Reevaluate it. Are there things that you are doing or holding on to in your life that's not even yours? It can be positive, and I'm telling you, if it's imbalance, if it is causing some type of imbalance, whether it's personal, professional, or both, that's all it is. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's not something that you are making up. It is a truth. Be truthful with yourself when you do these evaluations. Anything that's causing positive, negative stimulations, pay attention to. Things that you are holding on to, is it mine? Lord, give me a sign. Is this even for me to keep? Because you might be trying to prove a point to yourself that you don't even need. You are already awesome. You are already a good person. You are trying your best every day. That's all we can do is try. Nothing's guaranteed, and we have no control over it. Most things. All you can control is yourself. So you make sure that you show up for yourself. Be honest with yourself and others. Be kind and be gracious with yourself and others. Forgive yourself and others. All you can do is try. That's it. So when you feel like you don't drop the ball, just accept it. Okay, I dropped the ball. I'm going to do better next time. And when others drop the ball, same thing. Give them an opportunity to do better next time. Don't allow, especially what we think is small things or big things, don't allow them to disturb your peace, to become an obstacle, and you must stay balanced in all areas of your life. So if you feel like you're doing too much, don't give yourself the excuse that, well, I'm doing good, or I'm supposed to push that hard. It has to be this way. Who said that? Who said that? Probably you. It's probably you. We get to reset ourselves every day, and we get to reset our mindsets regularly. That's why we're here. So thank you for coming and having this moment, and good luck for the ventures that you are going to have. And again, those uncomfortable thoughts have to get dealt with, regardless of whether you want to or not. You don't have to say it out loud, but go into those places for yourself because you deserve it. You deserve to get rid of everything that has hurt you, that has wronged you, that's an obstacle for your beautiful future. Take that time, and if you don't understand anything else about it, understand it for yourself and forgive yourself, because it was not just your fault. It wasn't. You did the best that you could, and you're going to continue to do the best that you could. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, and good. I appreciate you, and enjoy the rest of your week. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if I've stimulated too much and you do not want to be left by yourself with it, just reach out to me. Okay? You can go to my website, www.pennyowens.com, or on any of the pages that you are watching and viewing this for. Just leave me a message, whether it's messenger or a comment. If there's anything that has been stimulated that you do not want to be left by yourself with, I got you. Okay? I ain't nothing but just a fingers print away. Just go ahead and just tap, tap, tap. Reach out, and I will help you get through it. So thank you for watching and being present. Good luck on your ventures, and I can't wait to see you guys next week.